The NHL is back on after the Olympics were over earlier this week, and there is no time because next week is the NHL trade deadline, next Friday, and we already got one trade off the bat with Brett Kulak for Sam Girard and a second. Pittsburgh's doing already very good jobs with the earlier Tristan Jarry trade, and we're going to start off with some of our we believe that need to be buyers, and I mentioned that Tristan Jarry trade is because they traded him to Edmonton earlier in the year, and Edmonton has a lot of pressure because one Connor McDavid was pretty much only giving them a 2-year timeline after this season with the same cap hit. So he's not even the highest paid player, the best player in the world who should be getting the full max like Kaprizov pretty much did, at least $20 million. He's given them to a time limit, and he himself is facing a lot of pressure. I don't think it's as warranted because you can't blame him fully for him not winning gold and the 2 Stanley Cup finals because he drags his teams as much as he can. But his Edmonton team has not looked the same this year compared to these last 2 years. But who knows? This team might still find their way to the final, but Colorado's has been a major, probably the best team in the NHL this year.
I'm just going to say this. If a team from a Central doesn't make a final this year, I'm going to be very disappointed because all 3 of them...
Here's the thing. One of them is getting eliminated in the first round.
Yeah, which is obviously going to suck. So in this case, it's going to come down to a coin flip because a Pacific and a Central are going to be in the Western Conference final. But literally... it's going to be a difficult road for Edmonton. They got to pull off some crazy shit to just make it to the finals this year because I don't think this McDavid Draisaitl dragging them all the way there is going to work this season because of how good Colorado has been, how Minnesota has leveled up with adding Quinn Hughes, and then Dallas just being Dallas.
Yeah. So off the bat, Connor McDavid in the Hart conversation once again, 96 points in 58 games. He almost had 100 points before the Olympic break, which is crazy. Draisaitl on a down year, you could say.
I mean, McDavid also started off slow, too.
Yeah, he started off slow. Draisaitl on a quote-unquote somewhat of a down year / start as well, 80 points to 55. And Bouchard, who in a way deservedly so had some shouts for Team Canada because of his offensive prowess. Defensively, big concerns. But offensively, 63 points in 58 games. Those are your 3 guys that are above a point a game. 2 forwards, the superstars, the top 3, 2 of the top 3 players in the world. And then after that, New just fine, 45 and 49. Zach Hyman obviously started the year late with injury, 36 and 39. But again, you're playing with McDavid. A lot of that helps. And so on and so forth. The depth scoring that you thought has not going to work hasn't worked so far. You bring in a guy like Andrew Mangiapane, did not work out for them. Podgolzin has been solid for them. The problem is he's not giving you the numbered production as well, right? And that problem with him with Vancouver was he can't finish. Like his heart is there. We know he could do all that. Intangibles are all there. The Roslovic pickup was pretty solid for them. Like he's been fine. But again, 24 points in 45 games. These guys won a lot of overtime games. Obviously, Roslovic had a couple of big ones. But before we continue on, I'll have this isn't for the whole NHL. I have a small little rant because I found this out the other day. Andrew Mangiapane is a full no move clause.
You're so mad that you couldn't even say it properly.
How the hell does every player in the NHL pretty much has a no-move clause or some type of trade protection later on? Because that's what makes trades hard. And listen, if Andrew Mangiapane says no to a trade to wherever, I'm not even going to blame him. I'm blaming the league. I'm blaming the team for giving him that. The problem with the players is to get the deals done. Now it's like, okay, we have to throw this in. Otherwise, the deal's not going to be done. So like the team, I don't know how the league agreed because they're not going to back out of it. Like why would the PA in the next CBA agreement, I think it's already done by the way, would back out of that? Because like at the end of the day, that's your full control, right? It's like in the MLB, why would they want to have a cap thing, right? Like a cap, just a salary cap in general, cap, yeah. So I'm like obviously we're gonna talk about the Canucks later. We're gonna talk about like the New Jersey Devils have like a lot of their players. Like there's a reason why they couldn't get Quinn Hughes is because they couldn't move off of. Eventually they moved off of Andre Palat, but they moved off of Andre Palat. They couldn't move up Andre Palat at the time. Obviously Dougie Hamilton. Dougie Hamilton somewhat deserves it. But like for me, Andrew Mangiapane got Yaroslav Halak a couple of years ago from the Canucks had a no move. Or like some type of trade protection as well. So it's crazy to me that like last year when like Leafs fans are getting pissed at Marner. He has every right to say no, and you can't be mad at that.
Yeah.
Blame your team for giving that to him. Blame the league for allowing that agreement to happen in the place with the CBA.
I feel like in this case, for like Marner's case
is fine.
Yeah, because I feel like if you kind of surpass a certain number, in your contract in AAV,
or like time with that team spent.
That too.
Yeah.
You should have the right to have that in your option. But I just feel like if you're a guy that you just get it for like a 1 year, like 1 year low salary cap hit, like it doesn't make sense to have a no move clause.
I think he's like on a 3 mil cap hit or whatever.
Like even if it's a 2 year contract, 3 mil cap, I feel like you gotta reach a certain threshold in salary cap of what you're making to have access to a no move clause. Because at the end of the day, I know you don't want it like as crazy as the NBA where like players get moved left, right, and center and just demand trades whenever they want type of thing.
I like that better than this.
But is like but obviously you want some sort of movement, some sort of parity, and as well as a league that has 32 teams instead of 30, it's difficult for a lot of teams to just be competitive. And if you're trying to look to expand, you might be looking at more teams than actually like compared to talented players, right? Or players that could, really drag franchises and all those things, because it's going to be difficult. And we're already seeing a lack of right shot D-men, right?
Yeah.
Another thing now we're seeing
centers
a lack of
general.
second line centers.
Yeah.
People that are capable of playing like, so all those no move clauses, I don't think help that, because it's good. It's very difficult for teams to improve through trading just because of how difficult it is to make a trade because of that aspect.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing ever. I don't know what the exact rules in the NBA are. I think there's like a certain amount of time you have to spend with a team. Obviously, I think how good you are as well. I know Jackson Hayes got some type of no trade clause last year, but he was in the Lakers for a couple of years. A lot of that is because him and I believe Lucas share the same agent as well. So if they were planning on moving off of him during the season, he would have some type of protection. But yeah, no, like I just wanted to have a mini round of that because it's dumb. Because like, how does like Mangiapane have a no trade or no move clause or whatever the case might be? Like a rumor like Tyler Myers trade might end up happening. By the time this video comes out, Tyler Myers may no longer be a Vancouver Canuck. Him, I kind of get it because he's been like his time with the Canucks has been up and down in terms of play, but
he's been there.
Off the not even that, like off the ice, he's been one of the most beloved guys in the locker room. He's one of the most like beloved guys in the community in that sense. So I could see him getting there, and yeah, you're right, he's been there, right? So for the most part, like stuff like that, sure, I get it. But yeah, no, I think this is where it gets tough to move. Like at the end of the day, like obviously he deserves it, Panarin as well. But like at the end of the day, like you're gonna have a lot of situations where they're gonna control your own destiny, and it screws over your own team.
And it sucks because like the Rangers got jack shit for Panarin, right?
And then these players get shit on by fans because they use their right to protect themselves. Like I think Torrey Krug from a couple of years ago, before he obviously is out for, I think his career is pretty much done with St. Louis. He said no to a trade. Obviously last year with Marner. Like at the end of the day, they have every right to control whatever destination they want to go to. Yeah. You can't hate them for it. Like I think obviously the same things that happened with Pettersson for the Canucks. And I think
the thing I hate the most is like what happened with that Panarin trade is because you just basically
Patrick Kane from a couple of years ago too,
right? Like you're like, I just want one spot, otherwise I don't really care type of thing. I just feel like that's too much control. At the end of the day, this is a business, and when you're looking at it, if someone trades you, no, you just got to get traded to that spot, right? Like you have no control over that. But in terms of like, obviously it just felt like a free agent type of thing instead of a trade for the Panarin.
Yeah, but anyways, back to the Edmonton. What it felt like for me. Now back to the Edmonton Oilers overall. Yeah, so they're looking to like the big name that they're looking at is Bobby McMann from Toronto Maple Leafs, and then like Toronto Maple Leafs, in my opinion, should be sellers, and we'll talk about them again during our sellers segment of this episode. But this team faces the most pressure in the NHL by far. Right, Connor McDavid, in a narrative perspective, has the pressure. Otherwise, like he could leave in 2 years and be like, all right, I'm going to go to this team and try to win a cup. I feel like this guy will win a gold medal or a World Cup of hockey. I think you could agree with that because that team kind of is solid enough to do it. Because at the end of the day, we already watch our Olympic recap video. We talked a little bit about it in there. But Edmonton Oilers as a whole, their players aren't getting any younger. Zach Hyman's only getting older. Yes, it helps that you're going to play with Connor McDavid, so you're going to get your goals because it's Connor McDavid. I feel like if I'm on the ice, I'll just put my stick there, tap it off, and go in. Obviously, I'm saying it's easier said than done. I'm just saying that you'd
probably fall down.
But yeah, true. RNH is only getting older as well. So it's like at the end of the day, like how much are you going to lean on McDavid and Draisaitl throughout the rest of McDavid? Like
they can.
It's
worked the last 2 years.
But have they won a cup?
Yeah, no. It's almost worked the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I find Bobby McMann interesting just because this guy is having a career year in goals and points, I believe, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So yeah, there's definitely a piece that should be added. And again, depending on how they use him, if they just chuck him up in the top lines or like keep him in the depth scoring spot. But that's a guy I think they should definitely be going after for sure. I don't think they're going to be doing anything with goaltending just because I feel like they're going to give Jari the chance.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. So that's the other thing. I don't know what's wrong with their goaltending in general because Stuart Skinner has looked pretty decent with Pittsburgh. Jari started off okay, and then like obviously got hurt. But then ever since he came back, he hasn't been the greatest as well. Connor Ingram has been fine for them ever since he's been called up. I forgot what the team, Bakersfield, I believe is their team. I'm not 100% sure actually, but. He's been fine as well, but then again, it might be goaltending questions once again come playoffs time. Again, can they find their way to the final this year and maybe avoid Florida because Florida is not in a playoff spot? Maybe, but that Central Division is loaded. You still have Vegas to go through in your division. You're lucky you're going to be either facing LA or if you don't win the division, sorry, even if you finish second, LA or Seattle or Anaheim, maybe San Jose, right? So you should be getting out of the first round, in my opinion, as long as you don't choke and get to the wild card spot somehow. But overall, easy buyers. They need to do whatever it takes to get McDavid.
And just be adding
helping McDavid out to show him in 2 years.
Even if you can't add a forward, add a defenseman because obviously. In this situation,
I forgot about aging. Ekholm's aging as well.
You could use anything that you can to help upgrade this team, no matter what the position is, in my opinion. So just focus on buying, focus on getting talent, and focus on just figuring out how to upgrade. And doesn't matter if it's defense, offense, or goaltending. I think you should be able to. You should just be going out there being aggressive to find ways to help out McDavid and Draisaitl as much as possible.
Still sticking with the Pacific Division, I want your thoughts on a certain team, in your opinion, surprised a lot, even in my opinion, I guess, because I did say they're going to take a jump, but not to a spot that they're at third place with Lane Lambert as their head coach, and that's the Seattle Kraken, who had a cold stretch during the year as well, where it's like, oh, they're back to normal, but they picked it back up ever since I think we recorded that video. There was a reported thing with Artemi Panarin. They were willing to make him like a 4 by 13 mil per year, I believe it was, or something. It was something more than what LA gave Panarin. He didn't want to go there ultimately, and he chose LA. Otherwise, I don't blame him for going hard for Panarin because who else is going to sign with them? There's like the team. This is a team as again, like outside of you're hoping Matty Beniers can be their top line center, but this is a team mostly filled with third line players and like middle six or bottom six guys. And defensively, don't hate it too much. And their goaltending, like Grubauer has stepped up this year. Grubauer in general has stepped up this year, but Decord has been their main guy.
This is the thing with Seattle. That's the type of move you got to make.
Yeah,
like I'm not going to be convinced that they're going to be doing anything. But they don't need to, let's be honest, they don't need to add any depth type of guys, right?
Middle six type of guys. I think the pressure for them comes from the city perspective because, like, the Seahawks won a Super Bowl. The Mariners are good. There's rumors about the Sonics coming back. You have UW as well. So for them, it's like citywide presence. Can you get them
when you're looking at upgrades, like, the only upgrade they could have had was Panarin.
Yeah.
And
he said no.
Exactly. So in this situation, what I'm looking at for Seattle is like, the depth is there. Like you have good quality players. You just don't have a guy that you could just literally lean on.
Yeah.
That's the difference here. So again, I would say is much more. I would have much more faith in Seattle if they were able to pull off Panarin, right? Or we're just able to pull off whatever. If somehow, some way, a superstar from now between. Or not superstar, but like pretty much like a stud gets available.
If a stud is available, go trade for him. Do not go for another is
there really a point?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Because they already gave up big contracts to like Chandler Stevenson and all those guys.
Like you have solid players. That's good. You're a good team. But you don't have a guy.
Yeah.
And again, it could be Matty Beniers potentially. We don't know. But overall, them going after Panarin, I was really happy they did that. Like at the end of the day, it was his choice. But that's the type of upgrade they need. Otherwise, I don't think any other ones really make sense.
So do you think they should be buyers or no?
Well, buyers for certain players, yeah, but
otherwise stay put.
Otherwise, you already have everything else really kind of in place.
Okay, so another team with the pressure, again, I'm not saying this is more of a question, are they buyers? Because I don't want to move off of division and come back, is the LA Kings. They unfortunately did lose Kevin Fiala at the Olympics. Get well soon. They bring in Artemi Panarin, but then again, you lose Fiala. Do they just stay put? Because you already know Kopitar's retiring. There are obviously rumors about Pettersson. There's rumors about Evander Kane. There's probably rumors about other guys that are potentially going to be available that they're waiting for because they want to keep some cap space open. Who knows what's happening with Connor McDavid, right? In a year or so time. I believe they should just stay put. This is not the year. There's no point being aggressive. If you go get Pettersson, like you're not going to trade Byfield. I get that. Like obviously, if I'm the Canucks, you're trying to move up Pettersson for sure. But like, are they really a Pettersson away from doing it? Because again, Pettersson at this point, I do believe this guy will, if he goes to a new environment, should be fine. And like he'll come, maybe not be a 100-point scorer, but maybe go close to a point per game scorer and then be that two-way centerman. The question here is like, is he going to be the guy? Because Quentin Byfield hasn't taken that step. Anze Kopitar is obviously stepping away after this season as well, retiring. So in my opinion, I stay put till the offseason. Right now, you're just outside of the playoffs. You might sneak in, sure, as a wild card spot, maybe as a third seed. But again, once you get in, you might get matched up with Edmonton. Are you going to beat them this year? Your chance of beating them was last year, and you blew it.
When you're looking at the Kings, I feel like I look at it two ways. Like, are they going to be aggressive? If that's the case, you go out and get someone like a Pettersson or whoever else that may be. The other option is, like you said, staying put. I'm going to bring up a third one is you got Panarin. So like, the reason why they could stay put is like, yeah, Fiala's out, but you got Panarin, so like you might not be losing as much. Oh, you're losing a lot, don't get me wrong, but like you're not going to be, kind of falling off because Fiala's out because you have Panarin to kind of, take that load.
Yeah, the plan was obviously for both of them to play together.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not together, but like at the same time.
But like be on the ice, right? Or like be in the game together. So yeah, that should make the team better for sure. But the other thing is like, do you trade for a guy just to fill in for Fiala, right? And that would that be Evander Kane? I'm not sure. Whoever the winger is, but just getting a winger just because one of your good wingers is out injured, so getting a guy back in return just to like, fill in the spot for a little bit could be another move they make. So I agree with you. I don't think they need to go all out. I feel like with the addition of Panarin, they got to see what they have. But another aspect is you have that one where like you're trying to fill in Fiala's role or like just a player to fill in for Fiala. Another option is that it's Kopitar's last year. What if they want to go all out just to send them off in a good note type of thing as well?
But you also you don't want to hamstring your franchise for the future as
exactly,
well.
But also another factor is that because it's Kopitar's last year, you don't know how good you're going to be when he's not there, right? Like at the end of the day, this team could drop off quite significantly if Kopitar, once Kopitar is gone, because they don't have the direct replacement yet.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, I think I'm going to the Central Division. The young teams, just let them play it out this year. We'll see what happens. That's Anaheim, San Jose, and obviously Utah to a certain extent. Obviously, if there is something out there that you can upgrade for cheap, you obviously do it. But both teams in the Central, not named Colorado. Colorado already made a trade, right? They moved away from Sam Girard, and they gave away a second, and they brought in Brett Kulak. So Pittsburgh looks nuts. They traded away Tristan Jarry for Samuel Girard in 2 seconds and whatever else. I think whatever else ends up being in the finish on that trade. Everybody expects Colorado to still make more moves because they feel like there's something, you don't do this trade and then stay put, because what type of trade was that? Because Sam Girard is a better player than Brett Kulak. So we'll see what they do usually, because when they make a move like that, they usually follow it up with something. But the Minnesota Wild obviously made the biggest move in the last decade or so by trading, in terms of trades, for a Norris Trophy finalist defenseman year in and year out in Quinn Hughes. So that part was done. Their defense is obviously loaded. Quinn Hughes, Brock Faber, Jacob Milton, Jared Spurgeon. Obviously, there's some guys that I think there's someone. Jonas Brodin is the one who's on IR at the moment. So defensively, they're good. Goaltending, duo-wise, yes, I know he didn't have the greatest Olympics in Gustafsson, but we know what during the regular season they've been solid so far. That's fine. Forward-wise, you have Kaprizov. You got Matt Boldy. You have solid enough wingers with Marcus Johansson, depth-wise and all that. And you have some young guys playing in there. The problem right now is Joel Eriksson. I mean, according to Daily Face, he's your second line center, and they put Ryan Hartman first line center. But either way, those guys are at least at the minimum middle six centers, right? Like in a good team, Joel Eriksson is one of the underrated players, but he's not a number one center for a championship team. So the question is, what center is going to be available that you can potentially?
There's definitely not going to be a number one center,
because we're going to talk about sellers. There's one team I'm looking at that needs to move off of some pieces. And can you pry off these guys off them? And I'm going to just spoil it right now. We'll talk about it more in detail.
Robert Thomas.
Because I want St. Louis to sell. Personally, they're no way gonna do what the hell they did in 2019 now. I don't not care.
It's too late now.
It's too late now.
That was like more of a January thing. Yeah.
No, it's not even a too late now. Their team is not good enough to do it now compared to then. Because back then you still had Ryan O'Reilly, Alex Pietrangelo, all of them solid players. Tarasenko as well. You don't have any of those type of guys anymore. And Kyrou, unfortunately, hasn't taken that leap that we expected to. Obviously, you brought in some young guys. Broberg extended all that. But I'm looking at teams that need centers, and I'm looking at this team for a fact. Can you get like Robert Thomas has signed a contract too? He's a solid NHL player as long as he stays healthy. I know he's on IR at the moment. He signed till 2031. I feel like he fits your timeline because he's 26 years old only. I'm looking at this team, and we're going to talk about some teams in the Eastern Conference. Can you pry a guy like that away? Yes, is he a number one center on a full-on championship team? Maybe, maybe not. But if you pair him up with a guy like Kirill Kaprizov, I'll be fine with it when you already have a guy like Joel Eriksson Ek. And then maybe you could sign someone in the offseason, sure. But for this season, is it going to be tough to get a Robert Thomas now? Yes.
Why?
But you still need to find a center to get over the hump in the Central Division.
Yeah, get a center. You don't need the best, most talented center.
Yeah.
Because
you have Kaprizov and both.
You just need a guy that just fills his job and gets like knows his role and gets that done.
Yeah.
Because of, like you mentioned, Kaprizov and Boldy. Like those are going to be the main point getters. Those are going to be the main go-to guys. So, again, I'm not viewing Robert Thomas probably if it is that situation, Robert Thomas will be the best center available.
Yeah.
But you're not getting a high caliber center in the deadline.
I'm gonna say right now,
not gonna happen.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say right now, I don't know that I haven't looked at the cap details too much because obviously Kaprizov's making 17 mil, and if you want to keep him when he's depending on what type, if he obviously worth that much, but we don't know if he's gonna take that much. Like he's still at the minimum should be him and McCarr should be 1 and 2 in defensemen's salaries. So it should be like, I think at the highest right now is what? Like, it was Erik Karlsson at 11? I don't know. Someone was up there. So they should be at least getting $12 million, $13 million themselves, both McCarr and Hughes, depending on that's what they decide to do. And obviously, I don't think Boldy has extended. I'm not sure about that at the moment. But I think this team needs to buy because, again, you have a legitimate chance to get to the NHL Stanley Cup final this year because the Central Division is loaded. One of the teams is getting eliminated in the first round. That means you have to just beat one more team. Yeah, is it going to be hard to beat Colorado? 100%. Because I don't think you're going to catch Colorado right now, personally, at least. And the way McKinnon's Olympics ended, this guy might be going on a Hart Trophy tear because that's the type of guy he is, in my personal opinion. But overall, Minnesota needs to be buyers and try to get a center. Obviously, everything we're saying is with caution. I'm not saying go out and be reckless because I don't think... I mean, if they do get a center, they can make a run to the Stanley Cup final because you have Quinn Hughes on your roster, and he should, barring any collapse or anything, which I doubt because you're that big of a lead right now, should be in the playoffs. Dallas is a weird team because they've been they're second place. They're fighting for second and third with Minnesota. The thing with Dallas, for me, it is they're obviously Mikko Rantanen is hurt now, so that's a bummer for them, but. What's their power play? Can you check? Like stat-wise? Because I think a lot of their stuff is happening on the power play. They've been this weird team that has like cold and hot stretches
29.9% second in the league.
Exactly. So a lot of their production has been coming from the power play. I believe
shooting percentage is also 13%, which is second in the league as well.
So yeah, so like a lot of that, how much of it can be fully sustainable come playoff time? We obviously know Jake Oettinger hasn't had the greatest year this year compared to years before, and we know, I don't know why he sucks against Edmonton when it comes to playoff time as well. But overall, when it comes to Dallas, like, can they just upgrade certain depth spots to help them out on the margins? I guess that's the best way to put it. This is how you obviously, they need Rantanen healthy.
Yeah, this is how you could tell, like, they've had a lot of success on the power play because they're second on the power play.
Yeah.
But in total shots, they're 27th.
Yeah.
Per game, which is at 25.6. They are 10th in goals as well. So it feels like some of the stuff that they're doing might not be sustainable when it comes to postseason, but again, you never know. Any of this, like, they could still just be continuing what they've been doing. But overall for Dallas, like, we're looking at a solid team, right? Like, defensively, pretty good.
Yeah.
Goaltending, he has the answer, and he's got to show it a little bit more when it comes to the clutch moments in the playoffs.
And to be fair, his, like, save percentage is league average. His league average is now, like, 8.96. He's at 8.97. Yeah. So he's been average in terms of save percentage. Again, that's not a lot. But still,
like, the type of goalie he is, like, he should be way above average.
Yeah.
And then offensively, when you're looking at it, the only reason why you made it past the first round is because of Mikko Rantanen. Can the other guys, can Robertson, can Rupe Hintz, can Wyatt Johnson, all these guys step up in the postseason and really produce when it matters most, because that's what they have been missing. So in this situation, when you're looking at it, Dallas, again, I don't think, look, if you could add like a proper defenseman type of guy like you did Tanev, obviously you'll take that. Another winger, mid-6, bottom-6 winger that could, potentially get you some goals, clutch goals as well. Sure. But for me, it's like the main guys got to show up. Jake Ottinger, Jason Robertson, Roope Hintz, obviously Mikko Rantanen and Miro Heiskanen as well. I just feel like those guys haven't shown up when in those conference finals games against the Edmonton Oilers. And that's the reason why they haven't gotten over that hump of making it to the Stanley Cup final.
Any other teams in the Western Conference you believe should be buyers? We'll come back with sellers after.
Look, we talked about the main contenders. So, like, at the end of the day, I just know they're that type of team. Like, Vegas is going to do some shit. Like, let's be honest. Like, they are that type of team. So, again, I'm not going to say that they should be buyers, but let's be honest, they are going to be buyers. And that's how they act. And that's why they're so good. And they are contenders. So, at the end of the day, they should be buyers. So, other than that, really no one else, I would say.
All right. The biggest team in the Eastern Conference that need to be buyers. Detroit Red Wings. Last year, Dylan Larkin complained. I think he had somewhat of a right. Because, you're showing, improvements, and your owner, it feels like your management group is not supporting the team to make your team better. Maybe last year was too early. Stevie Y may have made the right decision. But this year, he should upgrade some stuff. Because your second line center at the moment is Andrew Kopp. Right, JT Comfort, Michael Rasmussen. Defensively, they've been really good. Surprised me to a certain extent. Like, obviously, Simon Edvinsson, Axel Sandin Pellikka, JBD, Mo Seider is in the conversation of Norris this year, right? Like him, McCarr, obviously, Werenski, Hughes, whatever, right? Like, he's been in that conversation this year. Your goaltending has been solid with John Gibson and Cam Talbot as well. So for me, again, I said it. He's not going to be available, Robert Thomas. But if there are players, you got to do your due diligence. Can you go out and get a second line center, especially to help Dylan Larkin overall? Lucas Raymond has been really good for you this year. Obviously, DeBrickhead is going to be a solid forward piece for you as well. So overall, what this team has done, are they going to catch Tampa at first? I don't think so. There's an 8-point gap at the moment, but the second and third is wide open. And right now that's Montreal and Dummer, I think, are tied in points, if I'm not mistaken.
And Buffalo.
So there's four teams, three teams right there that are in the mix of second, third, and first wild card spot probably. All three teams, are they going to make the playoffs? In my opinion, they probably should. We'll obviously see these last 20 to 25 games that are remaining for teams, how they end up going. But overall, Detroit Red Wings for me out of the Eastern Conference, in my personal opinion, needs to be the biggest buyers to help show faith to your fan base and your players that we are serious because we are in a playoff spot. And listen, the Eastern Conference, in my opinion, is somewhat, I'm not saying they're going to be making it to the final. They're not contenders by any means, but they might, again, we saw a surprise in the NFL, different sport. I get that. But we do see some surprises happen once in a while. Like Florida from a couple years ago, the first year they made it when they lost to Vegas was a damn surprise because they were literally the 8th seed getting in, right? And barely got past the first round and handled the way all the way to the final. Detroit has a good enough defensive team that they can get the job done, and they need to show some faith and go get someone available. There's a certain name out there, and that's Mr. Elias Pettersson, who could be your second line center, could play well with Lucas Raymond, fellow Swede,
and help you out
new
defensively.
Environment, less of a media drama, and is a two-way center.
Help you out defensively. Look, at the end of the day, we're kind of like Minnesota. Like, they have the pieces around everything, except when you look at their center, you're like, yeah.
At least these guys have Dylan Larkin to start off with.
Like Andrew Kopp as a third line center sounds much better than a second line center.
Yeah.
Right. And then defensively, like you said, I was very surprised of how they performed. Got to give credit to Tom McClellan for that. Again, same with goaltending. Like, John Gibson's a good goalie when he's healthy, right? Same Cam Talbot has had years where he has been pretty good. There was obviously earlier on when he was with the Edmonton Oilers, he had that one good year, and a few years ago with Minnesota, when they played Vegas in the first round, Cam Talbot was their main goaltender and helped them make the playoffs. So I'm not surprised that Cam Talbot and Gibson tandem is necessarily, getting the job done, because again, it's not going to be like the top tier type of guys, right? But I'm not surprised because these guys have had successful seasons in the past. And then offensively, like you're looking at the wingers, very talented wingers. DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond, Patrick Kane to an extent as well. I know he's up there in age, but still has that talent. You're just looking in the middle of the ice, and a guy like Elias Pettersson could work just because you don't need him to be the main top scorer to be successful because you already have pieces in play, right? Yeah. But in this sense, like he's like new, fresh environment. If they believe that they can unlock him, then for sure, why not go after him?
Tampa Bay, and the reason why I'm saying that is because they just faced a lot of injuries. Forward-wise, they have probably their top six is really good. It's just their depth pieces. I mean, they addressed the certain things with Yanni Gourde last year, and I get that Oliver Bjorkstrand. But defensively, right now, I think they could need add some pieces just to help them out depth-wise, especially. They're obviously going to be they're a well-coached team. John Cooper, again, surprisingly, he's never won a Coach of the Year. That's nuts to me. But overall, like I just feel like, again, there's no guarantee in the Eastern Conference. Like with LA Kings in the West, there's a lot of teams ahead of them. Tampa has a legitimate shot of getting to the Stanley Cup final this year. So can they improve on the margins again to help them get there, right? You agree with them to at least be somewhat of a buyer?
Yeah, just figure out, like how you did last year, re-added Yanni Gourde.
Yeah.
Which was good because it kind of helped out your bottom six, which was, like, let's be honest, like when they're on their game, you have the best line in hockey. Like Point, Kucherov, and Gensel should be the best line in hockey.
You know who's available center-wise? I completely remember. I forgot about the other teams. Nazem Kadri. There's a legitimate chance he might get traded, and that's where I'm looking at if I'm Minnesota.
Exactly.
If I'm looking at Colorado.
That's
if
a
I'm
big
looking
piece,
at here, we'll talk about the next team now. Detroit for sure.
Montreal
but
potentially.
Montreal is like in a weird spot for me because again, yes, they need a center. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, insane, right? Slafkovsky, amazing Olympics. We get that. But do you want to? Like, I think he has like 3 more years still left on a $7 million contract. I get that. Really good. He would be a solid vet piece for Montreal. But do you want to take that on right away? Is my big question. I mean, I personally don't mind it.
Why? Like, why not? Like, you have cap space. It's not like you have to trade any of your big players to get them, right?
They already extended Lane Hudson.
So, like, why? Like, why not? Like you said, Cole Caulfield, you have the wingers. Demidov, Slafkovsky,
for them,
Caulfield,
yeah,
right. Why not get a second line center and a guy who's been a literal cup winner as a second line center?
Yeah.
So in this situation, I feel like the fit should be there, and they should be able to be excited to get a guy like this.
How much of a buyer do you want them to be?
To an extent where if you could fill out a proper hole. And obviously at the right price, I feel like Kadri fits that list, in my opinion. Like a proper whole second line center, established.
Yeah. I think the only concern
and he doesn't have to be the guy because like you have Caulfield or whoever he's going to play with, right? Like you have a winger that's he's going to be partnered with, which is going to be really solid, whether it be Caulfield or Demidov or Slafkovsky, whoever it may be.
Like the only concern I guess when it comes to Kadri is like he has. What year are we in? 25, 26? So yeah, he'll have 3 more years and he'll be at age, that's your age 35, 36, 37 years. That's the only concerning part.
Yeah.
That's going to be the only issue for them. Not just Montreal, like teams that want to acquire him, but like I said, I think Montreal can hold out, but if they do get him, I won't be mad. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you still need someone that is a beloved guy in a locker room type vibe because I know he's loved in Calgary. The other thing is like you said, proven cup winner.
Well, like you're looking at Montreal.
And a solid vet.
Yeah, like you're looking at Montreal, a young team.
Yeah.
Right? And it's weird, but like Suzuki technically has cup final experience.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I mean, some of these, like Brandon Gallagher technically does it too.
Yeah. But like, again, adding a guy like Kadri to help teach the young guys, to have a guy when points where at a certain points in a game where it gets really critical and there's some pivotal moments, a guy just to calm these young guys down, saying that, okay, just, you got to play your game in all those situations is going to be good. And they have some, but adding another one won't hurt, especially for the amount of young guys you guys already have.
All right. Eastern Conference is a weird one where there could be many buyers and many sellers. I'm going to get one obvious buyer out of the way, and that's the obvious Carolina Hurricanes. They were aggressive these last 2 years. Jake Gensel, the first year, should have kept him. Obviously, we know that it was a mistake letting him walk. And then obviously last year, they went big with Mikko Rantanen. It didn't work out. Flipped him and got Logan Stankoven in return. They added Nikolai Ehlers in the offseason as well. Solid team. They're first in the division. I get that. Their big question marks always come. Can they get over the hump and get to the Stanley Cup final? This is the big year. They can probably get the job done. Obviously, 78 points. They're well ahead in first place, ahead of Pittsburgh. I think they're only behind Tampa Bay as over the overall best team in the Eastern Conference as well. This team, again, a lot of it comes down to what's the stubbornness level of Rob Brind'Amour. Obviously, I do agree with him to a sense that like Florida plays a similar style of game. It's just Florida did it better, right? Like when they played each other. And this year, is it like, do you run it back? Obviously, you added a K'Andre Miller in the offseason as well. Sean Walker was there from the year before. It wasn't this past year. Yeah, okay. So I'm not tripping about that. But overall, can this team add some pieces? Yes. I think, again, this team should maybe...
Especially offensively, especially goal scoring wise. Look, you got an unsung hero in Brendan Bussey in net.
Yeah.
Goal, technically. Defensively, you should be fine. You have one of the best defensive defensemen in the league. You have a good puck mover in Shane Gostisbehere as well.
More of a power play specialist, but yeah.
Yeah, so like you have a guy that will give you some sort of offense.
Like Sean Walker, K'Andre Miller.
Exactly. Yeah. So no issues there. Like when you're looking at Carolina, you're looking at, can their guys, similar to Dallas, like can their guys just show up when it matters most and put the puck in the net when they need it, right? That like it's just simple as that. That's the difference. Right, that's where Carolina and Dallas has been so similar, and the reasons why they haven't made it over the hump is because of that. They haven't had a guy that just will just be clutch for them, or like the guys they do have just don't show up in those clutch moments.
All right, so we're getting into a territory now of we're gonna go a little bit rapid fire here, buyer or seller, and then we're gonna get into our for sure sellers to end this episode. Before we continue that, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 200 subscribers. Check out our latest video of the Olympic reaction as well. It was a banger video. We want you to hear your comments down below in this video. Who are going to be the biggest sellers and buyers? You guys which NHL team should be the biggest buyers or sellers in the offseason? And hit the post notification bell because we do have the trade deadline next week. And we're hoping that it's a big trade deadline like the NBA, so we can make another reaction video of the trades as well. If not, we're in the home stretch of the playoffs coming up. So a lot of good races that we're going to be looking at. All right, let's get right to it. I'm going to go back to the Atlantic Division here. Any team that you see buyer or seller? Because I think Toronto Maple Leafs need to be a seller.
Yeah, like you got to get rid of some of those older guys that provide value for sure. Obviously, you're not going to trade away Matthews or Nylander. Like
that's an off-season decision if they do move off.
But just pieces that you feel like are just not going to be or not a pivotal part of your team, you just got to get rid of, right? It's just simple things like that. Like they're not going to be getting rid of like Nyes or Matthews or Nylander, but like, someone like Bobby McMahon.
Any pending UFAs.
Right. Like, any pending UFAs for sure. We'll see, like to an extent, maybe Oliver Ekman-Larsson could be in,
I believe there's a couple years left.
Could be a hot commodity potentially for how he has been playing and how he actually has performed defensively. But overall, like Chris Tanev, especially if he was healthy as well, could have been a great trade piece as well. So just people like that, I don't think they need to do anything core changing. Not in season.
During the year.
Yeah, not definitely during the year. But just like you said, like just vets, pending UFAs and all those things got to be gone because I don't think...
So pending UFAs are Calle Jarnkrok, Scott Laughton, Bobby McMahon, and defensively is just Troy Stecher. I mean, the way he's been playing for them, you may as well at this point, but who knows? Obviously, the only one that has like, I don't think Chris Tanev, even if he was healthy, was getting traded. The contract was obviously too long. And he wants to stay home as well for the most part. But like, a guy like OEL, who 2 more years at 3.5 as of right now, is a steal that you might want to try to move off of if you can. But okay, I agree with you that there should be a seller.
Yeah.
Buffalo is a weird one. As we talked about them earlier in the year.
You got to stay put.
Because you're not trading Alex Tuch now.
No.
He's a pending UFA. Do you stay put or do you try to make a move?
You stay put. I think you got to stay put. You got to figure out what you have.
You should be in the playoffs. Barring any Buffalo-type collapse, you should be in the playoff spot. Like I said, you're on par with points. Right now, you're holding the first wildcard spot. You're 7 points clear of the Columbus Blue Jackets in the wild card.
I think you gotta stay put. You gotta figure out what you really have, because you have obviously
just get to the playoffs
pieces,
to give your fans some happiness.
Yeah, for sure. And you have a guy like in Tage Thompson.
And Rasmus Dahlin.
And then defensively, you have Rasmus Dahlin. Like you have guys already, so that's good. It just you just gotta figure out who those young guys are and what they're gonna be,
and what your young guys are gonna be like in the playoff setting. Guys like
Benson,
not even just Benson, but like Bowen Byram, who have big question marks. Obviously, you got like Power.
Yeah,
you see that
Quinn,
as well.
Jack Quinn offensively.
So, okay, so that's done. Pittsburgh. I mean, I like what they're doing right now. Crosby's out for 4 weeks, so that's your only concern at the moment. The thing is, like, they're adding pieces, right? But by getting second round picks. I say just stay put. Whatever is working, like you do not need to hamstring yourself even further than you can.
Yeah, I feel like a decision you got to make is in the offseason. Realistically, like we didn't expect Pittsburgh to be this good. Yeah, let's be honest. They're an aging roster and all those things, right? Like which is not necessarily great. But in terms of like some of these guys kind of refinding their mojo, and is huge. Crosby being out, like what? Like why do you need to go all out aggressive in one way or the other? In my opinion, I feel like whatever decision you make should happen in the offseason.
Okay, so is Boston in a similar tier? Okay, similar category in a sense.
Yeah, I would say so. And well, Boston, I feel like is a little bit different just because they're not as old as Pittsburgh. But again, they do have some pieces that where you could figure out they could trade away, but also be able to like acquire some talent here.
Their centers are Elias Lindholm has been good for them this year, but not like obviously he's not a first line center. I just don't know like what they can do to really upgrade themselves in season. In season, yeah. That's the key word, in season. Like a lot of stuff we will see to see how the season plays out for them. So then, okay, same sense, because there's a lot of these teams we got to talk about in the East, because that's why. Columbus, New York Islanders, we already established in our previous video that they should stay put and even sell some of their UFAs. They're just having a really good year as well. I think they still should get into the playoffs, so we'll see what ends up happening with their current roster. If they could add small margins, I would do that for sure. But Columbus Blue Jackets, same thing, stay put.
Like they're a younger team,
Are they on the same
right?
side as like Utah? Like they're like the Utah of the East.
Yeah, like again, this one is different because like Pittsburgh's old. Like Boston's like, kind of normalized, a little bit older. The Columbus Blue Jackets are more on the younger side. So in this situation, we just got to figure out if you want. They also got like they have head coach bump as well, right? In Rick Bowness. So like, how much is it that? How much is it like the roster?
They're 9-1 in their last 10, 7-game win streak.
So is it just a hot run or? Because I felt like,
they have a Norris finalist in my opinion.
Yeah, like they have a stud. Don't get me wrong. Like Zach Werenski. Yeah. For sure. But how much is it like just a hot stretch, or how much is it actually the team actually being good? Because I felt like when I look back at it now, when you look at Vancouver Canucks a couple of years ago when they made the playoffs, you're just looking at they had one hot stretch. Like literally after All-Star break, they weren't a great team. Yeah. Or even a New Year, I would say, right? Like they just had that really hot stretch and then just played good enough just to able to hold that lead. So these are questions, especially with Columbus, that are very critical just because they're the younger team, right? They got to figure out what they have they got to figure out what they have already to find out what they need to add and upgrade.
All right, last team I want to talk about in that category, because I feel like some of these teams, we know Ottawa, for example, should just stay put, and we'll see what happens. Certain things ends up happening, and we might have a guest for Ottawa. Who knows? We'll see what ends up happening, because we do have links with Alex Adams in that sense. But the Florida Panthers, they are right now, if you're wondering, at 61 points. So they're 8 points out of a second wildcard spot, and in the final.
I'm telling you,
third, and 11 points out of the third spot in this Atlantic, third spot in the Atlantic.
They should tank for McKenna.
Because they have protection.
Yeah, I'll share this quick funny story, because I was listening to radio to Canuck Central, who they always have this like a lottery simulator thing. And I think one of them was where Florida jumped up to the top two.
Yeah.
And like that'll be like
Stenberg, McKenna, or Veerhoff regarding.
That would be like the scariest thing ever if Florida just like missing the playoffs and like jump up.
So you're just saying like just get healthy, stay put, and just ride it out this year.
Like, why do
you played 3 year Stanley Cup finals in a row. You played 5, 7, and 6, right? So that's you pretty much like obviously I'm not gonna say you played every single possible game because obviously they didn't go to game 7s every single series they played, but you played almost to the maximum extent of any team possible in the last 3 years combined, right? All playoff rounds, win or lose, plus the regular 82
what are you
season.
Unless you're fully confident that like Barkov is gonna be back in the playoffs, like you have like some sort of like obviously a good update in that sense. And then you, if that's the case, trade for a guy.
Because Seth Jones is on IR.
Yeah,
Ekblad's day to day. Marchand obviously day to day. But yeah.
But it is also Bill Zito on top of that. I feel like if this Bill Zito gets an update saying like, Barkov's going to be ready for game 1 of the playoffs or like, midway through round 1 of the playoffs, he's like, screw it. I'm just going to add some pieces, get it to the playoffs. You get your full roster back and boom. Anything can happen in that situation. But here's also another
thing. I don't know how many expiring contracts they could probably go get. If Barkov isn't even ready, you could use the LTI money to get like pieces like that for the season.
Exactly.
But obviously, if Barkov does come back, that's back into play. It's no longer LTIR playoff rule anymore, right?
Yeah.
But let's go to the sellers, and I'm gonna go off the biggest one right now, the New York Rangers. We already sold Panarin, and again, their biggest asset couldn't get them much because he dictated the whole trade, which again sucks for them. But at the end of the day, whatever the case might be, if this team ends up getting a top 3 pick, I'm scared for the prospect because it did not work out with Kakko. Don't know what the hell is happening with Alexei Lafreniere. So the question is, I don't think you're moving off of JT Miller this fast. You've been trying to move off of Mika Zibanejad. He has control as well. You might need to move off of Lafreniere and just give him a new setting. Like, again, his contract is at a $7.45 million. Right now, that's very expensive. The biggest one you could probably move off of right now, realistically, is Vincent Trocheck. Now, how much of that's going to be possible with his best friend being JT Miller? I don't know. Defensively, obviously, Fox is on LTIR at the moment, but if you really want to, I think he said that this year is a wash. They already moved off some pieces. Chris Drury, that is, already put up another note out to the public, the GMs and everything. Your only big selling piece right now is Vincent Trocheck. Obviously, you got to figure out your age situation. You have Will Cooley coming up. He's an RFA, Taylor Radish, and all these guys. I would just move off of some of these guys ASAP. The biggest piece right now, you agree, is probably Vincent Trocheck.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much. We talked about the Rangers a lot this year, this season. Look, there got to be sellers. Just don't know how difficult it will be for them to sell. That's the situation they're in. Okay, it's just that's the best way I could put it for me.
All right, then the next team I want to talk about is the New Jersey Devils. Because again, they're 8 points clear of them, but they're still 7th out of the no playoff teams right now, which is like second last in the conference. I don't think they're gonna get in. The Islanders have 69 points.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. Again, similar situation, I feel like, for Toronto. Like, you don't need to make any decisions on your core, but if you have like any pending UFAs or like just some older guys that you just want to get rid of, try to do it. Like they did it with Andre Palat. But
Dougie Hamilton's a big one in that sense.
But yeah, pardon?
Dougie Hamilton's a big one in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like any major decision will happen in the offseason. The problem
with this team is they gave a lot of those no trade clauses, clauses as well.
So I feel like the major decisions will happen in the offseason because right now, with about a week away, and it's going to be so difficult just to make a decision. Yeah, like when this comes out,
if this comes out on Friday, then it's a week away on the
dot. Yeah, exactly. So
less than that technically, because the week away would be Friday at 12 PST.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, I think those two are the biggest teams in the Eastern Conference you could look at, plus Toronto if you want to throw up there. Western Conference, I'm going to start it off with this one, and I alluded to it earlier. It is time for the St. Louis Blues to shake things up. Jordan Kyrou and the Robert Thomas era hasn't been great. Last year, crazy run to get in. I don't think that's going to happen this year, personally. You're not going to get to the top 3 of the division regardless. And if you do get to the wild card spot, what's the point? You're going to get bounced out by one of Colorado or Vegas, in my opinion. And I know Vegas is a weird team, but they're still going to be good enough. And it's Vegas. These guys tend to buy at the deadline. There's a reason why we didn't really mention them in this episode. Because we know that's what they're known for. So for me, it is, I understand Jordan Kyrou is there till 2031 at 8.125 cap hit. Same with exact contracts, exact length with Robert Thomas, who's on IR at the moment. Pavel Buchnevich is at age 30. He's at 2031. Is Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou really the core you want to build around? I believe not. I think right now, they're pretty sure they're near the bottom of the standings as well. I think they're literally, where are they in the?
Yeah, they're like second.
Yeah, so they're literally,
yeah,
they're only 7 points ahead of the Canucks at 49 points. It's time to break this up. Again, is it going to happen during this trade deadline by next week? Probably not. But if I can try to move up, like obviously Pius Suter, you have another year left of him, you might as well try to trade him. At this point, like he's a solid piece.
Exactly.
Like he's a solid enough center. Detroit, bring him back. Even if you're Montreal, I don't mind taking a flyer on him for 2 years, right? Like at the end of the day, or even if you're Minnesota, right? Yeah, he's not a number one center. I 100% agree with that. But like for Detroit, I would love him.
Detroit or Montreal, they don't need a number one center.
Detroit especially, you don't need one. Yeah, both of those teams don't need one. He's a really good defensive player. He had a clutch goal against the Nashville Predators when he was on the Vancouver Canucks. So like guys like that, just because you have one more year remaining after this year doesn't mean you do not try to trade him. You already have a solid young pieces in Jimmy Snuggerud. I would bank on Dylan Holloway at age 24. We'll see what ends up happening. You give him a little like those. I don't want to give him a long-term, like a bridge contract extension if you can. You already extended Philip Broberg, who's been really good for you. I don't think you're going to move out of Colton Parayko anytime soon yet. Season ending LTIR already for Torrey Krug. So, like your defensive, you have three guys tied up long-term. Cam Fowler for 3 more years after this, but Colton Parayko, Philip Broberg are there from 2030 and 2032 respectively. Goalies, you got to figure it out to a certain degree. I don't know what's wrong with Jordan Binnington when it comes to the Blues side of things. Obviously, we loved him for Team Canada, but he's just been at the minimum. He'll be always an average goalie now, which is unfortunate. I don't know how Joel Hofer he hasn't been great this year as well. But I think for once and for all, at least, maybe not, I know this was meant to be a video, this episode is meant to be in season, but I'm going to incorporate the off season for these sellers as well. I'm done with this experiment. I'm not even a Blues fan. I'm just saying it's time to move on and try to rebuild. You have some solid young pieces in a guy like Jimmy Snuggerud. You might be a top 4 pick, hopefully, because I don't think you should be the worst team in the NHL. So you should probably have a top 4 pick in this NHL draft, which means you could get either a solid defenseman or solid centerman or one of Stenberg or McKenna. You go out and get it. I think it's time for these guys to officially break it up. 2019 was amazing for you guys. You at least have a cup to your name. It's time to start all over again, in my personal opinion. Agree or disagree?
I agree 100%, because I felt like St. Louis now like just needs to go through a proper rebuild here, because they haven't gone through one for quite a bit now. So in that situation, I think I agree with you. You have a couple young pieces, Snuggerud, Broberg, Holloway. You could, add pieces to that, and you're gonna have a top draft pick in this upcoming draft. Which
I'm hoping they have their pick, which I think they should, but yeah,
they do, and which is going to be obviously useful for them, because you have 2 studs in Stenberg and McKenna, and you have like pretty good guys in Verhoff and other pieces as well. So like when you have like the top 5 pick in this draft, like I'm pretty confident you'll come away with a good player, in my opinion. So I 100% agree with that. And obviously we're going to move on to the last team now.
Well, no, I want to ask you a weird one though, because the Nashville Predators are at 59 points. They're 4 game points out of a wild card. Realistically, they're probably not going to sell.
They're not going to blow.
They're already moving off of Barry Trotz, so we don't know what's happening in that situation. Realistically, they should not be doing anything, but they better not be buying is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up, because the only 2 teams really are the Calgary Flames. We don't need to go too much into it. They have a couple of pieces.
We already know what the Calgary Flames are.
They're the same tier as the Canucks, but we got to talk about the Vancouver Canucks, because they already moved off of Kiefer Sherwood. There is a rumor. Again, this might be coming out either Thursday or Friday. So by the time this episode does come out, Tyler Myers might be on his way elsewhere, because he was a scratch for the game against Winnipeg, because for trade protection reasons, roster management reasons, he did take a skate in the pre-game warm-up, and it felt like it was one of those farewell type skates, talking to his family and all that. So we don't know what's going to end up happening. There is a trade in place and going which from 2 days ago, which have not been reported. So it's crazy how it's under wraps. We don't know what team it could be. And on top of that, again, it all comes down to Tyler Myers, because next year his no trade clause goes from full no move to partial no trade, which is 12-team no trade. So which means he knows that next year, or this offseason come July 1st, there's a legitimate chance he might not even have a say where he wants to go. At least this year, he might consider it. The thing with Tyler Myers, I do want to say, is as much of a good Canuck he has been in terms of off the ice, and has been solid, decent, I'll say decent on the ice, Because in a good structure, he was amazing. Whatever team he does go to, and they are a playoff type team, he's gonna help him as a solid depth defenseman. Because he was it him that blocked a shot with his nuts to win a game once?
Yeah, the game 6
against Nashville.
Yeah.
So it was that one. So like he'll have his body in the line. He's gonna be he's a solid locker room guy. He's a solid team, and as a bottom pair defenseman, especially at the minimum a 4, but like 5-6 defenseman, he's solid. He's a big body. He was solid for the Canucks in the bubble. He was solid for the Canucks in the playoffs last year, personally. And the fact that he's the first, like the fact that he's the name that's being moved is the one that surprised us, because we felt like with the no trade clause, at least this year, he ain't moving. Young family from trains in Kelowna as well. So the fact that he's being moved, there's a legitimate chance that the Canucks might actually do a full-on rebuild with the veterans. We'll see what ends up happening if they listen to it. But we all know the Canucks need to rebuild. Will they? That's the ultimate question. But this seems to be a decent start with Tyler Myers.
Yeah, and you should be able to get something out of him in a decent little return, because he is a right shot defenseman, a big right shot defenseman. Like those don't exist as often. A guy who's experienced, proper vet in the NHL, and overall just a guy that I think is just gonna help a roster, no matter what type of whether it be just like a contending roster, just to help fill out and play some minutes at the bottom, one of the bottom pairings. And we seen this guy when he was getting moved, like when Canucks got made those defensemen signings like Ian Cole and
under Rick Talker,
Carson Soucy, and they brought in Phil Peronic as well, right? We saw Tyler Myers get pushed down the lineup a little bit, and that's where he started really excelling and showing his capabilities as well. So I feel like that will be useful for a team that's really trying to chase the cup.
So that being said, with the Vancouver Canucks, we always off the bat we don't need to go too much into it because we did talk about them a lot, aka being our team as well. Evander Kane should hopefully be moved. Teddy Bluger should get some type of value on a championship team. I'm looking at David Kampf. I mean, he had a solid Olympics. So those 3 guys should be on the move. The question with this team is, how are they going to rebuild with, they keep saying the veterans with term, essentially the guys we're looking at. I mean, it's a good start with Tyler Myers. I get it. 1 more year left in the contract. So I'm looking at a guy like, can they move off of a Drew O'Connor, for example? He's a solid, I would say a solid bottom 6 winger, hard, north-south, hard-hitting guy that could score from here time to time. The question mark comes down to Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Jake DeBrusk, Marcus Pettersson, and Philip Hronek. I know the talks are they want to make Philip Hronek captain. I do disagree with it because I feel like, and Connor Garland, sorry. Connor Garland apparently is, there could be potential trade talks right now. We'll see what ends up happening. He doesn't have any trade protection until the offseason, but we know that realistically, there's a gentleman's agreement that you sign a long-term deal. You're not going to screw him over by sending him to, usually the meme is Buffalo, but Buffalo's actually good this year. But you know what I mean? Like a trade like that. But
right now he's getting screwed over by us. So,
but Philip Hronek has the best trade value for you. Now I get it. He has a say. I get that. If he actually doesn't want to leave, then he doesn't want to leave. You have to respect the decision. But if he wants to leave and there's legitimate options out there, you need to move him. I understand he's a solid vet guy. You sign guys like that to a cheaper deal. Simple as that. Go get Troy Stecher back. Go get a guy like a Tyler Toffoli version of a defenseman that could potentially be available. Like a Tyler Myers, maybe in 2 years' time, you could sign him back and be like the vet guy for you or whatever the case might be. So overall, what the Canucks need to do is there's obviously talks about, the big talks are obviously Pettersson, DeBrusk to a certain extent, and by Pettersson, I mean Elias Pettersson, and obviously Connor Garland. Do I see any of these guys being moved realistically by next Friday? The only one I could realistically see, I mean, anything could happen because I didn't think Tyler Myers was going to get moved. PD's name has been out there. I could see it happening to a certain extent. I think Brock Besser is a guy that might not even want to leave because how open he has been of being a Canuck.
It's
Jake DeBrusk is the one name I'm looking at.
I don't think that's happening. I think if I'm looking at it, Garland, just because of the protections, having him not having the no move clause, and PD just because PD has when we have seen a fair bit of rumors about teams calling in for Pettersson's availability. So in that case, I could see a possible PD trade and obviously a Garland trade just because of that he has no move clause hasn't kicked in yet.
Yeah.
I don't think because I also think that those guys can potentially bring some value as well. And teams could want them.
I'm wondering,
well.
like I said, I'm wondering
I
about
don't think-
Hronek, but yeah.
And obviously Philip Hronek as well. He's definitely in that list. I'm just like
I don't think he's not.
he's gonna get. I don't think he's just gonna get traded.
Yeah.
Especially in season. So those are two names I'm looking at most. I don't think people are gonna really want DeBrusk on their team.
I think he might. People might, depending on the
I don't
situation.
think
Listen, he'll be an upgrade for Edmonton.
yeah, but are they gonna really commit to that long-term contract?
5.5 mil is not bad if he plays with Connor McDavid.
Yeah, but that's the thing, bro. Like,
I think he's gonna be an off-season decision.
We can't look at Edmonton saying that they should trade for him just because if he plays with McDavid.
Oh, I know.
Like at the end of the day, like you gotta play without McDavid. Like
Well,
McDavid could only play with two people.
Yeah, I feel like he would be one of them. But I'm just saying in general, like I think Jake DeBrusk is the one that's most likely to can be moved because it's not as sympathetic for him to stay in Vancouver as much as like a Brock Besser. But B, I do agree with you. It might not happen during the year. Maybe we'll be surprised, but it will be an off-season thing for him. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah, but I'm talking about people that could get traded at the deadline.
So the deadline,
that's Pettersson and Garland.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. I don't think people are gonna go for DeBrusk in the middle of the season. I don't think people are definitely not going for Besser. Hronek will be a difficult one. Like people have called in for Pettersson. That's a literal rumor. That's what's out there in reports. And another one is Connor Garland, just because he's the least difficult player to trade away because of the no move clause. I'm not saying people don't want DeBrusk. I'm saying people don't want. I don't think people are going to go and grab DeBrusk now.
I get what you're saying.
That's the question you asked, right? And the answer is Pettersson and Garland.
So overall, we know that these guys need to be the biggest sellers, regardless with term or not. And if they're going to be a serious seller, we'll find out truly in the offseason for the most part. But that pretty much wraps it up, this long episode of a trade deadline preview from next week. What's going to end up happening, because there are a lot of rumors out there. We saw some big trades already happen. Some moves already happened. Sherwood, Hughes, Samuel Girard just the other day. So far and so...
hopefully more Canucks.
Yeah, hopefully more Canucks. But comment down below once again. What are your thoughts of this upcoming trade deadline? Which teams should be big buyers, sellers? What's going to be the biggest trade that's happening? We already saw one in Artemi Panarin go down. And like this video, we're almost at 800 I hope we're at almost 800 subscribers. We're almost at 200 subscribers, and we appreciate the every support we've gotten on all three platforms: TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. So keep following and subscribing, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.